If you're spending hours and hours stretching as a way to improve pain, stiffness, or mobility, you might just be missing something that can make your results 10 times better. My name is Harlow, and I'm a specialist in helping people over the age of 50 to improve their independence and mobility. And in today's video, I'm going to show you why stretching probably isn't the answer to your problems and what to do instead. Now, I don't dislike stretching, and I use it myself and with my clients, but there's one very big problem for people who only stretch when they're trying to improve mobility. Now, stretching does one thing. It increases your flexibility. And flexibility is just a measure of how much your joints can move and how long your muscle can get. One thing that stretching does nothing for is to improve your control. And when we increase flexibility, which is how much available movement you have, without also increasing control, we can get ourselves into big trouble. People who stretch a lot but still have pain, stiffness, and poor movement are usually victims of this problem, and they've increased their flexibility without increasing their control as well. And that can leave them exposed to a higher risk of injury and more pain as a result. Here are some examples of how stretching alone can lead to trouble. Stretching your back without also improving your control opens up new ranges of movement which are essentially unprotected, which can leave you at risk of muscle spasms. Stretching your knee muscles will certainly improve your knee range of motion, but without also improving your control, you're at risk of getting stuck in a now much deeper squat. And stretching the shoulder out without also improving control also just makes your shoulder more unstable and can even make a non-traumatic dislocation more likely. So that's why stretching on its own is flawed. But the good news is there's a better way to improve your mobility that will increase flexibility as well as increasing your control at the same time. So I'm going to show you exactly how to use this technique that I call pure mobility work. So I'm going to show you the exercises now, but before I do, they're not suitable for everyone. Please do avoid any of the ones that cause you pain. The first exercise I'm going to show you today is called the wall slide. And this is a wonderful exercise for improving your hip and your knee mobility, because it improves flexibility, but also your control over that movement as well. So here is what you need to do. You just need a wall for this, and you want to either be able to lie on the floor next to the wall or have your bed up against the wall where you can put your feet on it like this. Let me show you the position, and then hopefully you'll be able to find somewhere at home. So you want to be on your back as close to your wall as you possibly can, and you want your legs resting on the wall like this, okay? Now, what's going to happen, first of all, is gravity is going to try and pull you down like this, which is actually a good thing because going in this movement is going to increase your knee flexion. But I want you to do this with control. So keeping everything else still, you're going to slide one of your feet down the wall like this, all the way down until you start to hit some stiffness in your knee. Now, when you've got that stiffness, you're just going to mobilize in and out of that movement by bending and straightening your knee, sliding your foot up and down the wall like this. And what I would recommend you do is do a combination of both the big movement, so up and down, and also the small bouncing movement like this. And if you're trying to improve the mobility of your knee, this is a wonderful way to do it. To progress this exercise, you can get in closer to the wall, which will then start to get your hip working too. And it's just a really good way to pair up the control of your knee muscles with the forces of gravity to get you more knee mobility. Now, I'd recommend doing about 1 minute's worth of work on each leg if you've got stiff knees, about once or twice a day, and that will make a huge difference to your knee and hip mobility over time. The next exercise I've got for you is one to improve your back mobility. And while this does improve flexibility, it also improves your control over the movement as well. And the movement we're going to be working on is called thoracic rotation. And by the way, if you're enjoying this routine so far and you want more help in improving your mobility, but done in a safe way, and with videos you can follow along with at home, then please do check out my lifelong mobility program. There's details of that in the description box below this video. Anyway, this exercise today is called thread the needle, and this is how it looks. It works on your thoracic spine, which is your mid-back. And many people, especially as we age, we lose the ability to rotate the thoracic spine, which puts our neck and our shoulders and our back at risk. This exercise helps you improve not just the flexibility, but also the control there. So you're going to start off like this, where you're on all fours. And the idea of this exercise is to thread the needle by taking this hand and passing it through that gap between your hand and your knee and rotating your thoracic spine as far as you can go until you reach your limit, and then you come back to the starting point. Then you rotate again, pushing your arm through the gap, rotating your body, dropping your shoulder down towards the bed, and then coming back. And the beauty of this is it's not a stretch, it's a mobilization, because you remain in control over that movement all the way through, and you're not relying on passive stretching to increase mobility. It's your muscles that are taking you to those new ranges of motion. And done consistently over time, you can truly improve the mobility of your thoracic spine if you do this. Obviously, make sure you go the opposite way. I can't show you that way as well because I've got my towels in the way, but that would look something like this, where you thread the needle through the gap, go right to the end of range, and then come back. And you only need to hold that movement for 2 or 3 seconds each time. And I would repeat 10 in each direction. Try and do that once or twice a day. Then we can move on to the next exercise. The next exercise I've got for you is one that's phenomenal for improving your mobility around your shoulder. And the ranges that people lose control in tend to be right at the ends of range at the shoulder joint. And if you lack control at that area, it does leave you open to instability and a higher risk of injury. Thankfully, this exercise not only covers those bases, but it will also improve your shoulder range of motion as well. It's called the prone Y lift, and it looks something like this. You're going to place a towel on your bed like this that you can rest your head on, and you're going to lie down on your front like this, with your head rested on the towel and your neck nice and relaxed, and the arm that's to be worked is going to go up like this, resting on the bed with the thumb up. The movement is very simple. You're going to pull your shoulder blade in and down, and then lift the arm just a couple of inches off the bed, hold for a second, and then pop it back down like that. Relax your shoulder blade, and then repeat. Pull the shoulder blade in and down, lift the arm off the bed, hold for a second, and then relax everything back down. Such a tiny little movement, but as you're lifting here, you're activating not just your shoulder muscles, but your lower trapezius as well, which is almost always neglected in just about everyone's strength training. But this helps you to take back control over your shoulder blade and to improve the health of your shoulder. Now, you don't need to do hundreds of these. I would recommend just doing something like 5 to 10 in a row. Swap sides and do the other arm. Repeat 3 sets of those all in a row, and if you can do that on 2 or 3 days per week, over time that will make an enormous difference to your shoulder mobility and control. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, it would mean the world to me if you just hit that subscribe button, because then you'll be the first to hear about our next videos when they come out, and it really helps the channel to grow. So thank you so much if you do that. The final exercise I've got for you today to help you improve your mobility and your control is seated hip rotation. And I love this exercise because you can just do it anytime you're sat down, and people don't even necessarily need to know you're doing it. You can do it quite happily under the kitchen table without anyone being aware. It improves the control and the mobility of your hip, and a loss of hip rotation is a big problem for hips, knees, and lower back. So if we can fix it, we can prevent a lot of these problems. Here's how the exercise looks. You're going to be sitting in your chair. You can either sit upright like I'm going to show you, or if you're uncomfortable, you can actually lean back in the chair, although I'd prefer you to be upright if you can. What we're going to do here is just lift one of your feet slightly off the floor like this, and then keeping everything else still, you're going to rotate your leg so that the thigh bone turns inwards and the shin rotates outwards. We call this internal rotation because the thigh is turning in, and then you're going to go the opposite way. So bring your thigh back to neutral and then turn the thigh bone outwards as your shin comes across you. Again, don't change your upper body posture. Keep everything still and rotate to internal and then out to external, and basically just alternate between those two positions, going in and then back out like this. Now, when you're doing this correctly, you'll feel the muscles around your hip having to work super hard to do this rotation. So you've got all of your rotators that live out here, and then you've got a load of rotators that live deep in your groin and in your buttock as well. All of them are going to be firing up. So you might feel some muscles that you haven't felt in a very long time doing some work there. And if you can do 10 rotations in and out, and then swap sides, and do this whenever you're sat down, whenever you've got nothing else to do, you're just watching TV or you're eating dinner, you can have this going on underneath the table, or when you're sat on the sofa, just get that hip rotating left and right and left and right. And over time, I promise, even if you don't have very much movement now, it's going to make a massive difference to your mobility. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you found this useful, please do drop a comment below and consider sharing it with someone else who might find it useful. And I'll see you again on the next video.